In the last 2 months, I lost two cousins to gun violence. And something stood out to me with the last one of my cousins that I lost. He had a very flamboyant personality. He had this passion for life. He loved life. You can see it with every Instagram post, every video he posted. You can see the smile on his face, that he enjoyed every moment of life. He had a wife. He had children. He had a business. He was attempting to do what we all want to do. Get his slice of the pie of the American dream. Create his own clothing line, his own brand. He marketed it. He promoted it. He lived it. But he didn't stop at trying to accomplish something and gain something for himself. He also posted videos that tried to convince, inspire others to not give up. To find an inner champion. He was a man that many of us hope to be, a person that many of us hope to be. Because many of us walk through life never enjoying the moments, always focused on negative of our problems and all the things, the issues that face us tomorrow, but not often smiling. I don't recall a day or a time I seen him that he wasn't happy. And I'm sure he had moments in private life that weren't so happy or smiling, but it's not important what happened in his private life. That's not our business. What's important is the person that he lived to be. What's important is to speak up about the fact that he was taken away from this world way too young, way too fast. What's important is what he could have been, what he was on the verge of being, what he was on the verge of breaking through. What it would meant not just for himself, but for other people in the black community. You know, when we talk about staying woke, when we talk about George Floyd, when we talk about police brutality, we often forget about talking about what's happening in our own community. We talk about systematic racism, and these things truly exist. We talk about the issue with drug addiction. But we often forget about our lost brothers and sisters who are getting gunned down, being murdered in the streets through the gun violence, through the self-hatred that we have for ourselves. It's like we're woke to everything but our own self-issues. We talk about mental health and receiving help for mental health as if that's some kind of nasty, terrible disease. As if it's going to really affect our ego or destroy or fracture us more than we already are. In reality, when I look at gun violence, when I look at violence in the inner city, when I look at black on black crimes, I'm tell you like this, one thing comes to mind. The truth of why it happened. Because I'm more interested in why it happens, because the only way to prevent things from continuing to happen, the only true way to stop something from happening is to actually find out and understand why it happened. And a lot of times, it happens for a simple reason. Sometimes you could say it's due to jealousy. But more than none, it happens from self-hatred. What do I mean by self-hatred? It's what we see when we look in the mirror. It's what you see when you look at your black face, when you look at your white face, your Latino face, your Asian face, your Indian face. When you look at yourself, what do you see? You don't see that person living their best life. You don't see that smile. You don't feel confident. You don't feel happy. You don't feel inspired. You don't feel motivated. You don't feel the love of the people around you. So what do? You do what's natural human nature. You begin to fear what you don't understand. You begin to try to destroy what you can't conquer. And when you can't understand why you're not happy, why you can't find peace in yourself, why are you not where you want to be, why are you not living your best life, why are you not financially stable right now, why are you not rich? Not just rich financially, but rich in spirit, rich in love, rich in happiness, rich in joy, then you must destroy that part of yourself. But see, that would mean committing suicide, and that's not what you want to do. What you start to do is you see someone who reflects what you look like, what you feel. Someone who is similar to you, and then you go out and kill them. And we wonder why. what's the issue in the black community and why it's so hard to fix this issue between black on black crimes, white on white crimes. We see this issue where too much of us are killing the very thing that looks like us. But we say stay woke. We marched for George Floyd. We stood up for Breonna Taylor being shot down by police. When Ahmaud Arbery was out for a jog and he was gunned down, we spoke up and let our voices be heard. We protest for we protest for justice. We protest back against systematic racism. We say that we're woke to all the things that's happening in the community, the issues that the government, the games that they're playing with our very lives, with our very families. The creation of the 1994 crime bill will force a lot of our fathers to be put in jail for long prison sentences for having a little amount of weed, which is now legalized. That you can now get a card and you can go to a store and be like, bam, I want to buy some weed, and you can smoke it and now it's legal. Now legal to sell heroin. And you probably say, no, it's not legal to sell heroin. Yes, it is. Percocet. You got the Xannies. You got oxycodone. Illegal form of heroin being sold. But we got relatives who were locked up in jail. We have mothers who were forced to raise their children. Raise their children alone, working 2-3 jobs, just to have enough money to say I'm broke. To have enough money left over after paying their bills, trying to take care of their kids, to have enough money to get them to work the next week. Living below the poverty line. We look for politicians to come and save us, to come and reverse the 1994 crime bill that forced us in the situation we are in now, that led to dismantling of our family, but accused the drugs were the issue, but then went and turned and legalized the drugs. The very drugs that they accused of dismantling and causing destruction to the black community were then illegalized, sold legally. When we look at the destruction in our community, when we sit here on social media, Instagram, tweeting about staying woke, and we speak about the very things that affect our black communities, we talk about speaking up against black on black crimes, we often wonder, I often wonder, what more can be done? What more could we do? What more should we do? What are we not doing to help affect true change? Yeah, we all get on here and we all say, yo, we can't change. Racism is never going to change. The issue between the police and the black community will never change. The issue with drugs in our community will never change. Politicians will always lie to us. Yeah, you know why they're going to always lie to us? Because we don't have anyone who reflects our views actually representing us in government, in Senate, in Congress, in the White House, in our local and judicial system. We don't have anyone sitting, being a judge, understanding our plight, understanding where we come from, and not hating us because they hate a part of themselves. We don't have prosecutors that truly understand the difference between someone trying to make a profit off drugs and someone who's addicted to drugs and needs to be put in a facility to help them addict drugs. We don't have people who understand the issue with mental health in the black community, mental health in all the communities. We don't have the understanding of trying to bridge the gap between poor white people and poor and rich black people, bringing them together to find out that if you look at each other closely, if you look across the aisle and you look beyond the color of each other's skin and the privilege that one may have, then you'll see that you have more in common than you know. I mean, you hear these white people and these poor white people speak about fear of losing their very rights. We hear them cry about the fear of losing their health care benefits, forced into a government-ran program. We hear your cries. We hear your cries. We see what you're talking about, where you're fearful of not being able to take care of your family, fearful of losing jobs, fearful of opportunities not being presented to you. And then if you look, and I'm speaking to my Caucasian people, my white people right now. If you look across the aisle and you look at the people who are wearing them Black Lives Matter t-shirts, Black Lives Matter sweatshirts, flying those Black Lives Matter flags, speaking up against Black Lives Matter, which you will see is not a person that's not saying that your life doesn't matter. It's a person who's saying that we don't have those opportunities. We don't have representation in Congress. We don't have representation in the NFL and ownership, even though We represent most of the players in the NFL are black. We don't have ownership, representation in those offices. Yeah, they put Black Lives Matter on basketball courts. Yeah, Amazon, Google, Apple, they're sitting there speaking about Black Lives Matter when it all comes down to it, when George Floyd get killed, but where is those speak now? Where are they fighting for? Where is the legislation change? What are they truly doing? Yeah, they threw a few dollars at it. But are they truly fighting and continuing to take that course to fight back against the issues that are affecting the black community? Are they truly taking a stance to fight back against systematic racism? Or was this just a ploy? A hypocrisy that they use to gain the interest and gain the consumer wealth of the Generation Z, who are making up these people or these customers who are also the ones who understand the issues of the black plight, that understand the issues of racism that still has an effect on the black community today. If white people look across the aisle, you'll see that you're fighting for and you're arguing for the same thing we're fighting for, and that we're asking for just a little more. We're asking for our seat at the table. We're asking to be seen finally as equal as human beings. We're asking for laws to be truly changed to not just benefit y'all, but to benefit us equally. We're fighting to gain back our communities, our children. We're fighting back to stop burying our brothers or sisters, our cousins, as we had to do, as my family had to do, to not feel that pain of burying our family members anymore. We're fighting back against that. But see, we got people who are saying stay woke. But where you at, my woke people? For all my people who are saying they stay woke, they're woke all day. Saying that you shouldn't vote, saying that you shouldn't trust politicians who have a very great way of speaking and have their hand on the pulse of what is needed to change in the black community, what needs to be changed in the world. Ways to end systematic racism, ways to end police brutality, ways to end the killing of black people amongst each other. It's ways to end poverty. Where are you at? Where are you going to stand up and walk in to these offices to become legislators, to become congressmen, senates? When are you going to come in to start to fight to be mayors, governors, to be presidents, to get in here to actually push for change, and not just through social media, through actions? When are we going to get tired of burying our children? When? You know, loss of my cousin, opened my eyes to several things. And one of the things in the black community, what it woke me up to, is the fact that, like I said, he owned his own business. He has his own clothing line called Watch Me Work. And, like I said, he lived his life. He lived his brand. He spoke about it, but he also tried to speak about motivating others. But what really stood out to me is the fact that I see a lot in the black community. And for all you people who say you woke out there, I want to see if you will awaken to this. See, when a person dies, you get these posts. And these posts where people talk about, I just spoke to him last week. I just spoke to him yesterday. They speak about speaking to him yesterday. Man, I was just waiting 2 weeks ago. Man, I really love this person. But when he was out there selling his sweatsuits, when he was out there selling his shirts, I can't spend $50 for that sweatsuit. I can't spend $30 for that sweatshirt, but then you go to Gucci, you go to Versace, and you spend $495 for a shirt. You spend $600 for a pair of Balmain shoes, but I'm not buying his stuff, though. Because his stuff too expensive. And you think about not just him, but other black people who are out here right now trying to start a t-shirt business, trying to get their piece of the American dream. Think about the kids who are out right now in the medians of a highway, risking life to sell waters. You can't afford to give them $1. Think about how you put these posts up and how you talk about how much you love this person, but when he was alive, where was all that love? Why didn't he feel that love? Why didn't he feel that support? Why didn't he know how you felt about his clothing line, about his movement? Don't worry, this includes me. Why weren't we speaking up about these people who are truly trying to make a change in their community? Then the interesting thing that happens is about these posts about how you love this person. See, these posts are like that now legalized weed. You can go in your dispensary now, pull out your card, bam, you may buy some weed. Go smoke the weed, you take a big puff, and a big puff of weed, smoke come out. You know what that weed smoke does? As it goes in the air, you notice it just goes up and starts out as a big puff of smoke. And as it goes in the air, it just starts to disappear. Sort of like the post that we put up on social media, put on Facebook, about a person who died. Man, I loved him so much. I was with him yesterday. I cared about him so much. But then that post starts to disappear as time goes on. The hypocrisy starts to kick in. The reality of the situation that you love this person so much, it starts to disappear just like smoke in the air. And soon he becomes another forgotten person, another lost soul, another person who has died and murdered in the streets, but nowhere, there's no protest, there's no march, there's no talking about how Black Lives Matter, about how much his life mattered, about how he was murdered way before his time, that he didn't get a chance to see his children grow up, that he didn't get a chance to meet his grandchildren. And now his wife has to become another fractured home, raising children on her own, without a husband. Here's the reality of the situation. We talk about the hypocrisy and what happened to my cousin, how it expands into what I'm talking about when I say stay woke. When we look at what's going on, we talk about Amazon, we talk about Google, we talk about all these companies who are now getting on to the Black Lives Matter movement or speaking about Black Lives Matter and the importance of Black Lives Matter and the importance of trying to stand up behind these people. The fact that the NFL are now opening their stadiums for people to vote. The NBA are now putting Black Lives Matter on their NBA courts. We speak about how these people and the hypocrisy of this. That it all started out that George Floyd died, that these companies, Amazon, Apple, Google, all these companies, the companies that some of the companies that you work for were speaking about holding town halls against Black Lives Matter, against social injustice, against systematic racism. But you notice that all that has disappeared like smoke. It started out as one big puff of weed smoke. And then as you notice, as time went on, that just started to disappear. And that you don't hear Amazon speaking about how Black lives still matter. We don't hear these companies speaking about systematic racism. The town halls meeting has ended. They talk about how Black people and the end of inequality that Black people are facing is no longer part of the conversation, no longer part of the equation. It's no longer a subject that deserves to be conversated about. That we no longer speak about the destruction that's happening in our community, the need for the help to rebuild our communities. The effects that our community is still suffering with. That we're not talking about standardized testing and how it is negatively affecting our children. Our children's not only creativity, but their confidence. That it's affecting the way teachers are teaching their children and pigeonholing these teachers so they can't truly teach our children to live a productive life, to get out here and understand how the world and how society truly lives. But they're preparing them for a test as if every single day of their life will be a test. That's everything they do in their life. When they go on a job, they will be forced to take a test. But we say we're woke to what's going on in society. But when do we wake up and do we truly see? When do we wake up and we truly see that we need to speak up and stand up to fight back for our communities, fight back for our children's future, for our future? When do we stand up and see that the only way to do that is not through a Facebook post, not to talking about stay woke, but to also truly speak up about getting into legislation, getting into government, joining these mayor's offices, these senates, this Congress, to truly make a true difference, to get into prosecution. To not complain about what politicians are or aren't doing, but seeing what we can do, because that's what it comes down to. We can't sit here and no longer wait for someone else to change to save our children. At this point in our lives, we have to get to a point where we have to stand up and fight to save our children. We have to fight for our children's right to live, because we can't expect them to. Because what we have learned is with the 1994 crime bill, what we have learned through time, through civil rights movement, and through all the changes and forces, that we have to be the ones who make a change. Excuse me, my dog has joined the show right now. We have to be the ones who take our part and take our stance. That we have to now get off social media and let our voices be heard further. We need to let our voices be heard in the halls of Congress, in the halls of the Senate, in the halls of the White House. We need to go into those offices and take our space, take our place as young Black people, and to speak up against it. To the poor and disenfranchised white people, if you're sitting around still waiting for someone to come in and save you, you're worried about your very way of living being affected. You're worried about if our improvement means your disapproval. No, it means that we are just trying to get our piece of the pie. And that equally we want to live as others do. We want to be able to feel free that when we get pulled over by police, we're not fearful of being us shot in front of our children. We're not fearful of being murdered. We're not fearful every time that we go into a job interview that we're going to be seen as we're ghetto or we're not qualified based on our name or the way we look. Not the way we dress, not on our credentials, but the color of our skin. We want to be able to feel like we can advise our children that one day you can be sitting in the owner box of an NFL team. We want to see here and look at our children and say that we're not going to be prepared for your funeral and we're not going to bury your children. You're going to bury us as parents. We're not going to bury you. It's time for us to stop feeling this pain. So many people say, I would love to be on your show. I want to be on your show. You have an open invitation to come on my show anytime you want to speak about it. I don't care if you agree, disagree with anything I'm saying. If you disagree, come on, let's go. Sit in front of the camera and disagree with me. Because unlike many of us, I can sit here and have a conversation with you. I can disagree with you and still respect your opinion. But we look at people. We look at our society and the people that say they stay woke. A lot of you are woke to doing what? Cancel culture. Cancel culture, where you want to cancel Ice Cube because he wants to work with Donald Trump because he's current president to fight back against some of the issues facing the black community. And what do? We don't agree with you, so we must cancel you. We must dismay you. We must put you down. We must bury you. We not must try to understand what your plight, what you're trying to do. We must assume that you're trying to attack our very way of living, that you don't understand and you don't have the same views as we have, and we must destroy you because that's what we do as human nature. Destroy what we don't understand and what we fear. Dismantle it. But we don't sit there and listen to what Ice Cube is trying to do. We're not trying to truly understand it. A lot of us don't even know what he's trying to really do. We don't even understand what's in the documents of what he's really speaking about Trump. We don't take the time to. We just know a few people made a post speaking about, they don't agree with Ice Cube. So what do? It's immediately assume and jump on the ship. And we accuse ourselves of being woke. Awoke to what? To sleepwalking? Because just because you're sleepwalking, it don't mean you woke. It just means you're walking around with your eyes wide shut. Not understanding what's going on or how you truly affected or how to change the things around you. Bumping into everything, tripping over things that's right in front of you. But if you open your eyes to see what's sitting in front of you, you'll understand what you're tripping over, what you're bumping into, and you'll learn how to avoid those things. A lot of us had an issue and went to cancel Jay-Z. Why? Because he went from saying, I don't need the NFL need me. Then we accuse him of hypocrisy when the reality is what he truly did was prove the very point that he was saying. The NFL did need him in truth because that's why they asked him to come on board to help deal with the issue between them and the black community and their black players. To put more money into direct funds into true organizations that affect the black community. But see, we need some of these funds to affect our school, to affect us educating ourselves about finances, teaching us about true financial growth, teaching us about opportunities where we can go outside the neighborhood and the poverty that we live in. If we want to talk about where finances should be directed, it should be directed into schools or into communities where children can attend private schools that they're not able to attend because their family members don't have the money for it. So that they're not forced to go to public schools or charter schools. Let them get a taste of private schools, private school living. Let them see how it feels to live outside of the community. Employ teachers in the community. Empower us to be part of the Congress. Employ this money that's being distributed to these black communities to help the political systems of people who are truly woke, that truly wants to get into Senate, get into Congress, get into these legislative, judicial, or executive branches of the government to truly make change. Support these type of things. Let's support the Angela Rise who get on camera and speak up against the black plight, who pushes us to not only vote, to write to our senators, to our governors, give us the information to write to our local offices, to push for change so we can fight for our children while they're truly alive. You want to hear some jokes right now? I don't got nothing for you. I got cold, hard truth for you. Cold, hard truth is it's easy for any of us, me included, to sit here on social media and post stuff and talk about all the things that need to be changed and woe me and how I'm affected. It's easy for the white community to talk about pull yourself up from the bootstraps when we were a stepping stool for many years, for hundreds of years for the white community. It's easy for them to do that. It's easy for us all to sit and play the role of a victim. And sometimes the best road is the hard road travel. And we have a hard road ahead of us to truly end social justice, to end the police brutality, to end this racism this racism that's dealing with, that's affecting all of our communities, affecting our children. Institutional racism. We need to change the fact that standardized testing is negatively affecting our children's education, their creativity. That's affecting their confidence, affecting their ability to live a normal life. We have to fight back and reverse these laws, these crime bill laws that will force our children, our parents, our fathers, our mothers out of the home, forcing us to be raised by our aunts, uncles, grandparents. We have to reverse these things. But the only way to truly make change, the only way to really say you woke, the only way to really prove that you woke is to truly by your actions and not your words. Get up. If you may not be the type that sit here and march, you may not be the type to sit there in government and want to run for election. You might not have the stomach for that. Maybe you got the stomach for writing a letter. Just like you write on Twitter, you write on Facebook, pick up a pencil, pick up your keyboard, write a letter to your Congress, to your Senate. Keep writing them letters until you start to see change in your community, until you start to see community centers start to be built for your children. After school programs, sports programs being rebuilt in your community. When you start to see parks being rebuilt, when you start to see police officers actually starting to interact with the community and not sitting here looking at every black person that wears a hoodie or that walks around like a damn thug. When you start to see the schools starting to get true funding that supports children's learning and not preparing them for standardized testing. Here's where we truly speak up. Because if you can get on Twitter, if you can write memes and you can write Facebook, use that same creativity. Use that same voice to push for true change. If you truly woke, prove you woke. Prove it. Prove it not through your words, but through your actions. You don't got to sit in front of the camera with me to prove your actions, to let your voice be heard. Yeah, you can speak up against black on black killing, but get out there, create a sign the same way you march for Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, for Trayvon Martin, for George Floyd. Get out there and march for my cousin that died, for your cousin that died, for your son, your daughter that was murdered by black people. Get out here and try to convince people and try to inspire people to see the true beauty on themselves and stop buying into self-hatred. Get out here and measure and teach people the importance of mental health. Mental health, learning to rise above the issues that you have. It's nothing wrong with getting help. Stop marginalizing people to make them think if you're getting help, that something's wrong with you or that you're weak. Get out here and make the true difference. We can start in our own household. If you see someone in your household who's dealing with mental health, self-hatred, anger, isolation, talk to them. See if you can help them. You got friends, you got family members. Talk to them. Take a few minutes. Let them know that they're not alone. That destroying someone else and taking someone else's life is not going to make you feel better about yourself. It's not going to make yourself better. You can't kill off the thing you hate about yourself by killing someone else. The only way you kill it off is by facing it, confronting it, changing it, and building a stronger, better you. Don't buy into the hypocrisies that the world's teaching you. We know that politicians are not always there for you, but we got to stand up and fight for ourselves. Because until we stand up and see representation that looks like us, feels like us, thinks like us, nothing's going to change. And we're forced to deal with what society has always given us, with the standardized issue that society given us, the foundation that was built in this country. It's time to us root up this evil, to tear up this evil, to stand up and fight back for our children's lives while they're still living. I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Past the President Podcast. As always, hit me up on Facebook, Past President, Instagram, Alan the Great. Comment, like, smash that like button, people. Hit it hard, like you chasing that bag, like you punching that clock. Punch that like button so the world knows how you feel about this video. Let me know what your thoughts are. You can hit me in the comment section. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook. I already gave you that information. You want to be part of the show? Let me know. You're always welcome to come on the show, whether through Zoom, because we got to do social distancing right now, or when it's COVID-19 over, I'll invite you into the studio. We can sit down and chat it up. Let's bust it up, people. Let's have a conversation. Agree with me, disagree with me. I don't really care, but just don't try to cancel me. I want to thank you for joining me. Until next time, I see you, people. I only got one thing left to say, y'all. Stay tuned. Peace.